Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Look, do you have at least a 10% rating with the VA? Do you want to utilize another program from the VA to drive substantial dollars into your pocket every single month? Let me tell you, if you have no dependents, you could receive anywhere between an additional $723.56 per month, all the way up to $4,644 per month, depending on some varying qualifiers, with just a 10% minimum rating. That's huge. So imagine this. You're a veteran, you have a 10%, 20% rating, small compensation figures, and you qualify for this program, and it drives in $4,644 per month into your pocket. That would be helpful, I would imagine. So I personally utilized this program in the past for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half or so. I can't remember how long, 2 years. So it does work, and you can get into it. You just need to know about it, and you need to know how to basically get approved. So I'm going to share with you the information on this. Please hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. If you're not a member, consider joining. It helps the channel, and the little icon next to your name helps me find you in the comments. Thank you to all the members. I really appreciate you so much. So jumping into it here, this is the VR&E program. That's Veteran Reemployment and the Veterans Readiness and Employment, VR&E. And here I'm going to read from you from the site for you. So VR&E support and services tracks. If you're a veteran or service member with a service-connected disability that impacts your ability to work, that's the first tip. First tip is you have to have a service-connected condition that impacts your ability to work. The Veterans Readiness and Employment Program, formerly called the Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment, may be available to help. They offer 5 support and services tracks to help you get education or training, to help you find and keep a job and live as independently as possible. Explore the different tracks and find out how to apply for benefits and services. So the 5 tracks, I'm just going to read the headlines of them here for you. Reemployment track, rapid access to employment track, self-employment track, employment through long-term services track, as well as independent living track. So there's 5 different tracks that you could utilize this program. So jumping into it here, says how to apply for Veteran Readiness and Employment. It says here, how do you apply if you already have a VA disability? You can apply by filling out Form 281900. That's VA Form 28-1900. And you can mail it directly to the Department of Veterans Affairs at VR&E Intake Center, P.O. Box 5210, Janesville, Wisconsin, 53547-5210. You could also do it online. Apply for VR&E. Just Google search it, find it. So here's some of the qualifiers. And again, I'm going to jump into the dollar figures. So stick with me, because there's 2 separate qualifiers. One qualifier is basically the default, and that's the lower figures. Then there's a special qualifier that will allow you to get up to that big dollar amount that I had mentioned up front. The highest that I think that it will go is $4,644, and I will explain that to you as well here in a moment. But first, I want to go through this for you. So, as far as the qualifiers, eligibility is concerned, for Veterans Readiness and Employment, you are eligible to apply for VR&E benefits and services if you meet both of these requirements. You did not receive a dishonorable discharge, and you have a service-connected disability rating of at least 10% from the VA. When they receive your VR&E application, they will schedule your initial evaluation with a voc rehab counselor, and the VRC will determine if you're entitled to receive VR&E benefits and services. Now, let me tell you this. I'm not going to dive deep down into all of this stuff. That's the basics. Now, I'm going to give you some other information here in a minute as well, so hang on with me. I just want to give you a quick little story. Because you have to apply for it, then be seen by a voc rehab or whatever, VRC counselor, it's a voc rehab counselor. That's a person. A person's going to sit across from you and hear your story and then decide if they approve you for VR&E or not. I did that. The first time I was denied. I dusted everything off, reapplied, went again, was denied a second time. It wasn't until the third time that I applied for VR&E and spoke to a third different person, a voc rehab counselor, and my story happened to resonate, right? So it's really important to understand that even if you don't get approved the first time, keep trying if this is something that you want to do. The key here is that this is not an education benefit, although they will utilize education as the tool to get your employment. The thought process here is you cannot do the same type of work you had done in the past because of your service-connected disability or disabilities are getting in the way of you being able to either hold a job, get a job, whatever. So they want to retrain you to do something that you can do with your current disabilities in mind. So the idea is that they have to suggest, is what I found out, that school is the way you need to go. Now, importantly too, and again, I want to get into the dollar figures here on how you can qualify for the higher dollar figure amount per month. But first I want to also mention that as far as qualifiers are concerned, in addition to veterans who are at 10%, the discharging military members are also eligible. And it says here that at least one of these must be true for you. You're either going through a physical evaluation board or you are expecting an other than dishonorable, so not a dishonorable, an other than dishonorable discharge, and you have a VA memorandum rating of 20% or more. And then it also says that if you're entered into the Integrated Disability Evaluation System, that's IDES, would be another reason why you would qualify. So I don't know why they don't have, well, actually I do. I just answered my own question. So when you go through the med board process, there's two kind of avenues. You have the LDES, which is the Legacy Disability Evaluation System, and then you have IDES, which is the integrated. Legacy is just they're med boarding you out, and maybe you'll get some money from the DoD. The IDES is that same process, but they also integrate IDES, the Integrated Disability Evaluation System. They include in the VA process along the way. So they will actually file a VA claim for you while you're med boarding out. So anyway, back into this. As far as the dollar figures are concerned, there's two dollar figure situations. One is if you do not have any post 9/11 GI Bill remaining, zero. You have no post 9/11 GI Bill at all, never had it, or you used it all, or whatever the case is, there's none in the bank. You have zero post 9/11. Then what happens is if you go, for example, to school for training or education, to school for full time with no dependents, it's $723.56. If you have two dependents, it's $1,057.65 plus $77.07 for each additional dependent. Okay, so you could do that funny math. So with two dependents, it was $1,057. That's if you have no post 9/11 GI Bill. Now, if you have any post 9/11 GI Bill remaining, any amount, could be 1 day's worth, 1 month's worth, 1 year's worth, whatever, then the VA will mirror your post 9/11 BAH payout. So effectively, let's use San Francisco, California as the example. if you were to use that as the qualifying zip code for your benefits with the VR&E while you're going to school full time, you would enter in your BAH rates for 2023, the zip code in which you would be going, which let's call that San Francisco, and that you would use E5 with dependents. And that takes you to $4,644 per month tax-free. Huge. So this is a stipend. It's extra money. It's not used for tuition or anything like that. So it's additional money in your pocket while you're completing the program. So this program, I know people, I personally completed a bachelor's on it, all online myself. And I did not have any post 9/11. So I just got the 1,057 stipend. And I know people who've received their master's degree through VR&E. And, if you're in the program for 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, you will receive the stipend or the dollar amount for that entire time that you are actively in the program. So very, very important benefit that will drive additional money in your pocket while you're trying to figure out things and get back on track to have a successful career. So with that, I'll go ahead and conclude it there. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.